Hello, good evening. I'm Rachel Blackmore, as you probably know, and I am a relationship therapist and coach who specialises in helping you to find the one. This evening I want to be talking to you about quite a contentious issue, so bear with me. I want to talk about desire and devotion and why it's so difficult to find a relationship with a partner who doesn't cheat. I went to a conference a little while ago, and it kind of made me think about the work that I do with people and the things that that people come up with time and again, and it's the same sort of issues. And I went on this conference, and it kind of made some things fall into place and make sense, and it made me wonder about why it is that certain relationships don't work out and why the same issues seem to be so difficult for so many people. And it seems that actually the way that we're programmed might mean that we have more to contend with than we realised when it comes to being committed and devoted to just one person for your entire life. So Dr. Chris Hamilton was doing a seminar, and it was titled Desire and Devotion, and I took part of what he was saying and what he was talking about, and I combined it with some other stuff that I learned on the conference. So this is really a synthesis of the things that I learned on that day and how I've interpreted them to try to explain why there is such a high rate of divorce nowadays. So basically, he said that our ancestors and our culture are what influence our desires. He says that to a large extent, they are unchosen. So we don't actually choose what we want, what we desire. It's kind of part of our DNA, really. And we've got first order desires and second order desires. So, for example, I have a second order desire to lose weight. Okay, because a second order desire is something that's long term. It's like big picture, if you like. So I want to lose weight because that's more acceptable in society. Nowadays, it is seen as being better to be thinner and that therefore more acceptable. So that's what I want. However, a first order desire is something that is more driven by impulse. So let's say I've got a piece of cake in front of me and I really want to eat that cake because I like cake, it's tasty, and while I'm eating it, it makes me feel really good. So for that moment, my first order desire to eat that piece of cake is more compelling than my second order desire to lose weight. So I will eat the cake. And then afterwards, that's when the guilt and the remorse sets in because it's a short-term pleasure, but it's something that's irresistible because it is an impulse that's within me. So often the first order desires, I'm so sorry about the light. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but it keeps flicking. I'm ever so sorry about that. It's often the first order desires aren't in our best interests. They're things that we kind of can't help ourselves with, even if we know that. So let's put this in the context of romantic relationships, because obviously that's what I'm most interested in. And when you think about the relationships that you might have found yourself in the past, or maybe a relationship that you're in now, you have that desire, that second order desire to remain faithful to your partner. Of course you do. You know, that's what we all want. We want our partner to remain faithful and devoted to us, and we want to give the same in return. And also that's more acceptable in society, in our Western culture, in the society we live in. That's what we do. However, we have evolved to crave novelty. So we're constantly looking around for the next big thing, for the next new exciting thing. So that's, fashion. That's in terms of clothes, the trend for eating avocado, for example, at the moment, and technology. I mean, Apple have capitalized wonderfully on this kind of shiny object syndrome that we have. because we're constantly craving something new. So this craving for novelty makes devotion really difficult. And if you add to that the fact that we have this hunger for imaginative thought, that it can make things really difficult. So this hunger for imaginative thought is, we imagine how things could be better. So we imagine that our life could be better if, in fact, I'm going to turn this light off. I'm sorry that you can't maybe see me very well now, but it was too flickery. We imagine what our life could be like. So it's that kind of grass is greener on the other side adage. It could be better if I earned more money, or I would be happier if I lived in a bigger house, or if I was with a different person. And you can see that, we have the capacity to imagine that very clearly. And so we need a distraction from that. So we're contending with these things all the time. We're contending with seeking this distraction and this shiny object syndrome, this seeking novelty, and it makes it really difficult to stay devoted to just one thing. Now, one of the other seminars I went to was talking about evolution and how we've evolved in terms of being monogamous. So a long time ago, we would all die at around about 35. So, the whole point of being alive was to reproduce, as it may be now for many of the creatures in the animal kingdom. So we remained monogamous because it was the best way to guard against infanticide. If there are two parents bringing up the baby, one of them can go and get food, the other one can stay behind and protect the young against predators. And of course, then as soon as the baby is old enough to look after themselves, the parents die, because that was our lifespan back then. So we could maybe have been pre-programmed to only stay with one partner until the age of 35, just until the child rearing was done. So yes, until death do us part was quite accurate then. However, nowadays we live for 2.5 times longer almost than that. So you can imagine that it's, not that we don't have the same drivers as we used to stay in that monogamous relationship. And this could explain the fact that we now have midlife crisis, because our midlife now was the time that we died years and years and years ago. So our brains also, though, have increased in size. Okay, so this is actually a good thing. In the past, our ancestors had very small brains. They were only really thinking about reproducing and survival, and they could have had, I would imagine that they did have affection for one another, as apes do now. But as our brains have got bigger, we are now able to invest much more in our relationships. So we are invested emotionally, physically, and spiritually. We have that real connection with our partner. And that goes a long way to guarding against this kind of shiny object syndrome that we can't help having, and this need for distraction that we also can't help having. So if we feel strongly enough about our partner, if we feel that they are the one, then that's enough to withstand the first order desire for novelty and distraction. That second order desire is to stay faithful to our partner is much easier. The other thing is that people change a great deal between the age of 20 and 40. And if you grow alongside your partner and you change together, that's great. If you don't, that makes it even more difficult. So, it is quite hard, I think, and it makes me even more sure than ever that we need to make sure that when we get married, when we decide to commit to somebody for life, that we really feel 100% that they're the one, you know, that they're the right one for us, that they're not just someone we're settling for because we're at that stage in life where it's time to have babies and it's time to buy a house, and yes, I'm with this person now, so I think this person will do. Because, you know, it's hard enough, and as you can understand, it's even harder by all the things that we're also contending with, that our ancestors have kind of left us with. So that's just a very sort of, I hope you've understood that. I've written a blog about it as well. If you head over to my website, you can see that. And I explain it a little bit more detail there. But, you know, it just makes me think that we need to make sure we don't settle for less than absolute certainty that this person is the one for us if we want to guard against infidelity and divorce and all that other stuff that is heartbreaking, that we don't want to have to contend with. So as usual, I would really love to hear your thoughts on this. I know it's quite a contentious issue, as I said at the beginning, so please feel free to comment below. Let me know what you think. Any questions that you might have, any clarity you're seeking, I would love to talk to you about this. I would love to have a conversation below. And also, if you found it interesting, please share. I would love for more people to see what I am doing and what I am trying to achieve for single people out there. And as I said last time, there is a special offer that I'm doing in January, where if you decide that you want to work with me, I have a bonus that is worth around about £700. So I would love to, I'd love to talk to you on the phone if that's something that you think you might be interested in. So you can book a call with me if you go to talktorachel.com, Rachel spelled R-A-C-H-A-E-L. You can book a call there, and I can help you to make sure that you're ready to find the one and to make sure that you commit to the right person for life. So give me go over there and book your call, and I would love to talk to you. Thank you very much. See you again.